The war had ended 3 years ago. In the silent corners of the galaxy, people were learning to breathe again. Ruined cities were being rebuilt. Fields that once burned under firestorms now grew green under alien suns. Every race had lost too much. Every soldier carried ghosts. The promise was that it was over. There would be no more battles, no more fleets crossing the dark between stars. That was the promise Commander Varen, of the Zarathi Defense Fleet, never believed in promises. His ship, the Sentinel, patrolled the old battle zones where debris still drifted like frozen rain. These graveyard sectors were dangerous, not because of enemies, but because of what war left behind: mines, drifting hulks, automated defense turrets, and sometimes things worse than machines. The day began like every other patrol. His crew was quiet, tired of the same routes, the same empty scans. The space outside was a black sea with pieces of shattered warships floating in slow circles. The sensors hummed softly, reporting nothing of interest. Varen leaned back in his command chair, letting his thoughts wander. That was when the alarm went off. Commander said Ensign Rail, his voice tight. "We have a signal." Varen straightened. "From where?" Rail hesitated. "It's coming from the surface of Saarn 5. The battlefield planet." Ron's eyes narrowed. Saarn 5 had been dead since the last war's final days. No one lived there. No one could live there. Radiation storms and shifting toxic clouds made it a grave without visitors. "What kind of signal?" Varen asked. Rail turned pale. "Human." The word hung in the air like cold metal. The humans had not fought in the last war. They had stayed away, far from the front lines, refusing to join either side. No one knew why. They were strong, intelligent, and dangerous, and they did not share their reasons with anyone. The other species had accepted their absence, partly because they feared what humans might do if provoked. "What does it say?" Varone asked. "Rails." Hands moved over the console. "It's short. 3 words. Play it." The bridge speakers crackled, and a deep, calm voice spoke. "We are coming." Silence filled the bridge after the words faded. The signal stopped immediately after transmitting, as if whoever sent it did not want to be found. Varen's second officer, Lieutenant Karis, broke the silence. "Could be old. Could be a recording from before the war." Varen shook his head. "Slowly, the encryption is new. That signal was sent today." No one spoke for several seconds. Outside the viewport, the battlefield planet drifted below them, a cracked, lifeless sphere, its surface hidden under swirling clouds of gray and red. "What are humans doing here now?" Rail asked quietly. No one had an answer. Varen gave the order. "Set a course for Saarn 5. We find the source." The ship descended toward the planet. As they entered the upper atmosphere, the hull shook with the force of high winds. Lightning flashed in the clouds, white against the darkness. The scanner struggled to cut through the storm. The signal reappeared for a brief moment, then vanished again. Like a whisper in static, they broke through the cloud layer and saw the surface endless plains of blackened metal. Broken weapon husks, shattered towers. The ground was littered with old machines that would never move again. It was a graveyard not only for ships, but for ideas. There, Rail pointed at the scanner. "Signal source, 1 click ahead." They hovered over a cracked canyon. The bottom, half buried in dust and debris, was a ship. Not Zorathi. Not from any other known fleet. Its hull was sleek, black and unmarked. Even the shape felt wrong, like it was built for silence. They landed near it. Varen led the way, team down the ramp. The air was thin and sharp, making every breath feel like swallowing knives. The wind moaned through the canyon like a voice that had been speaking too long. The human ship's ramp opened as they approached. No one had touched it. No one had called inside. The door simply opened, and the sound of metal moving against. Metal echoed across the canyon. A figure appeared in the doorway. Tall, broad-shouldered, covered in armor that was dark and smooth, like it was grown instead of built. The visor of the helmet reflected the dim light. Hiding the face, The human spoke in a voice as calm as the one from the signal. "You are the commander?" "I am," Varen said. "Why are you here?" The human tilted his head slightly. "Looking for something. It was left behind after the war." Varen frowned. "There's nothing here but wreckage and ghosts." "That is what you think," the human replied. "We are looking for the last weapon." The name meant nothing too. Varen, his soldiers shifted uneasily behind him. "I have never heard of it." "You will," the human said. Before Varen could speak again, another sound filled the air, a deep, distant hum. It grew louder, vibrating through the ground. The human looked up toward the sky. "They are here," he said simply. Varen followed his gaze and saw a shadow move between the clouds. "It's not human, not Zarathi. Something else." The hum became a roar. Dust rose in a wave as something large descended into the canyon. The shape was hidden by the storm, but the sound alone told Varen this was no small craft. His instincts screamed at him that whatever it was, it had not come to talk. The human stepped forward, almost blocking Varen from the incoming threat. "If you want to survive," he said, "you will help me find the weapon before they do." Varen felt the ground shake as the shadow grew closer. His crew reached for their weapons. Lightning tore through the clouds, and for a split second, the attacker's form was visible: twisted metal, glowing eyes, a design that looked stolen from many races at once. Varen's breath caught. This was no ship. It was something else, and it was hunting them. The thing in the clouds moved like a predator. It circled once above the canyon, then dropped lower. The storm seemed to twist around it, as if the weather itself wanted to hide the shape from clear sight. The hum was louder now, deep enough to rattle teeth. Varen's crew aimed their rifles. But the human in black armor lifted a hand. "Your weapons won't work," he said. Varen turned sharply. "And you know this because I've fought it before," the human said simply. Before Varen could ask more, the thing dropped from the clouds. It landed on the canyon floor with a sound like breaking mountains. Dust exploded upward. Shibs moved inside the storm of grit. Long limbs, jointed the wrong way, ending in claws that dug into the ground like hooks. The body was made of a patchwork of alien and human technology. Glowing lines ran across its frame like veins of fire. "It's not alive," Rail whispered. "No," the human agreed. "It's a machine, but not just a machine." The creature turned toward them, its head tilting with a slow, deliberate motion. Its glowing eyes locked on Varen's group. Then, without warning, it moved faster than anything that size should move. Inside, the human barked, grabbed Varen's arm and pulled him toward the black ship. Varen hesitated for a heartbeat, torn between trusting the stranger and fighting. But the machine's claws tore into the ground where he had been standing, spraying shards of rock like shrapnel. That decided it. He ran. The crew scrambled up the ramp. The human hit a control on his wrist, and the ramp sealed shut with a hiss. The moment it closed, the machine slammed into the side of the hull. The whole ship shuddered, and the lights flickered. "Strap in," the human ordered. "It will try to breach." Varen took the co-pilot's seat, still breathing hard. "You haven't answered my question," he said. "Why are humans here now?" The human kept his eyes on the controls. "Because the last weapon is here. And because that thing works for something far worse." The ship lifted off, engines screaming. Outside, the machine leapt upward, catching the edge of the hull. Its claws scraped across the black metal, leaving glowing scars. The human flipped a switch, and the outer panels of the ship pulsed with blue light. There was a sharp burst of energy, and the machine was thrown away as if by an invisible hand. "What is that thing?" Rail asked from the back. "An echo," the human said. "A fragment of an old mind, a war AI that was never shut down after. The last war. It's been building itself from whatever technology it can find." Varen's eyes narrowed. "If the war is over, why is it still fighting?" "It isn't fighting," the human said. "It's hunting." The black ship banked hard, skimming the canyon walls. The echo's shadow moved above them, keeping pace. Varen's mind worked quickly. You said you've fought it before. Where? The human hesitated, then answered, Far from here, in a place your people have never been. That was when I learned about the last weapon. It was built long before the last war by my people. It was hidden because we feared it. And now you want it back, Varen said flatly. The human's voice was calm but firm. No, I want to destroy it. The echo dropped down in front of them, blocking the canyon. Its claws sank into the walls, and its head turned as if it were studying them. And its mouth, if it could be called that, opened, and a sound like static and whispers poured out. The lights in the ship dimmed. The controls under the human's hands flickered. It's trying to get in, the human said. Into the ship? Varen asked. Into us, the human replied. The crew shifted uncomfortably. One of Varen's soldiers groaned, pressing his hands to his helmet. Voices, he gasped. I can hear the human didn't wait. His hands slammed down on another control, and the ship's interior filled. With a high, sharp tone, the soldier flinched, then blinked, as if waking from a bad dream. That was close, the human said. If it connects fully, it can rewrite your mind. Varen was silent for a long moment. That's what the last weapon is, isn't it? Some kind of mind control device? The human didn't answer, which was enough of an answer. The echo lunged forward. The human ship shot straight upward, engines roaring. The machine tried to follow but fell back into the canyon, the storm swallowing its form. The clouds closed around them as they climbed. Lightning flashed, and for a moment, the planet below was just a broken sphere under a sick sky. Finally, ship broke through into the clear black of space. Varen turned to the human. You still haven't given me your name, Rourke, he said. Captain Rourke, United Earth Defense. And you expect me to help you find this weapon? You don't have a choice, Rourke said. Because if I fail, your people will be the first to fall. The words hung in the air. Varen didn't like them. He liked them even less because part of him knew they were true. Below, the planet spun slowly, hiding its secrets under storm and shadow. Somewhere down there, the last weapon waited, and in the dark between stars. The echo would not be the only one searching. The black ship moved through space in silence. No one spoke for several minutes after they left the storm clouds behind. The hum of the engines was the only sound. Commander Varen watched the planet shrink in the rear display, feeling uneasy. Something about Rourke's calm voice bothered him. It was the calm of someone who had seen too many battles and expected more. Finally, Varen broke the silence. He said the last weapon was made by your people. Why? Rourke didn't look at him. We were afraid. Varen frowned. Afraid? Of what? Rourke's gaze stayed on the dark stretch of space ahead, of losing. We were not part of your war, Commander, but we were watching. Before your conflict even began, we fought our own war against something not from this galaxy. We won, but only barely. We built the last weapon as a final answer, something to use if we faced extinction. Rael leaned forward. What does it do? It changes minds, Rourke said quietly. Not just one person, entire planets. It can make anyone believe what you want them to believe. It doesn't kill armies. It makes them join you without question. Varen felt a cold weight in his stomach. You mean it controls thought? Rourke nodded. Yes, that is why it must never be used. But the Echo wants it. If it takes control of the weapon, no one in this galaxy will be free again. Varen looked at him sharply. And how do I know you don't want it for the same reason? Turned his head then, meeting Varen's gaze. His voice stayed calm, but his eyes were sharp. You don't. You will have to decide whether to trust me before this is over. The bridge fell into silence again. Outside, the stars shifted as the ship curved toward a new course. Where are we going? Varen asked. Rourke tapped the controls. A small holographic map appeared. It showed the battlefield planet, the surrounding debris field, and a glowing point far underground. That is where the weapon is hidden. We'll need to land far from it and travel under the surface. The Echo will be searching above. Travel under the surface? Rael said. That place is unstable. The tunnels will be collapsing every few minutes. Rourke didn't respond. His focus stayed on the map. Veron's cum unit buzzed.
Hey,
Was Kara's from the Sentinel? Commander, are you all right? We lost you in the storm. Veron answered carefully. We found a situation. Stay in orbit and monitor for any incoming ships. Yes, sir, but you should know. There's something strange on long-range scanners. Multiple energy spikes around the planet. And, Commander, they look human. Veron glanced at Rourke. The man's expression didn't change, but his hands paused on the controls for just a moment, a small, telling hesitation. Other human ships? Veron asked. Cars confirmed, at least 3. Small, fast, running silent. No identification. Signals. Rourke finally spoke. They're mine. Veron's jaw tightened. You didn't mention an entire squadron? They weren't needed until now, Rourke said. If the Echo is here, I'll need my people. Veron didn't like the sound. Of that, he liked it even less when one of the human ships appeared on the display, a dark shape sliding out of the black, like a shadow that had learned to move. It flew close enough for Veron to see that it was built like Rourke's. No markings, no lights, nothing to give away its origin. They'll meet us on the surface. Rourke said, as they approached the planet again. Veron kept his eyes on Ron. Rourke, he had fought beside strangers before, but never with someone who gave so little away. The man seemed less like a soldier and more like a piece of the darkness around them, moving with it. Blending into it, the ship entered the atmosphere. Again, this time Rourke avoided the canyon where the Echo had attacked. They flew over a wasteland of cracked ground and twisted metal towers that leaned like broken teeth. Finally, Rourke set the ship down in a wide, shallow crater. The other human ships landed nearby. Their crews emerged, more armored figures, each moving with silent precision. None spoke. None removed their helmets. One of them handed Rourke a small case. He opened it, revealing a set of glowing devices, each no larger than a coin. Signal scramblers, Rourke explained. The Echo can listen through anything electronic. These will make us invisible to its scans. For a while, Veron accepted. One but kept his voice cautious. And if it finds us? It. Rourke closed the case. Then we don't run. We finish it here. They began moving toward a jagged opening in the ground, a collapsed tunnel that led into the planet's underlayers. The air was heavy with dust. Strange sounds echoed from deep below, like metals shifting in the dark. Veron's soldiers followed, but he noticed they kept glancing at the silent human warriors. Something about them was unsettling. They moved without hesitation, never, looking around as if they already knew every danger that could come as they descended. The light faded until only the faint glow of equipment lit the path. The walls were not natural rock but melted metal, the remains of war machines fused together by heat so intense it had turned entire battlefields into caves. Half an hour into the descent, the sound of static whispered in Veron's helmet. Froze. Do you hear that, Rourke? Did. His hand went to his weapon instantly. The Echo is close. From the shadows ahead, a flicker of red light appeared, then another. Glowing shapes moved in the dark, slow and deliberate. They're scouts, Rourke said. It's already searching for the weapon. Veron raised his rifle. The air grew colder. The whispering static turned into broken words. Fragments of voices calling names neither of them recognized. Rourke's visor reflected the red glow as he spoke in a low voice. Stay close, Commander. From here on, we're in its hunting ground. And then the first Echo Scout stepped into the light. The Echo Scout stepped forward. Its body was tall and thin, like bones wrapped in black metal. Long cables trailed from its back, sliding over the ground like snakes. Its head turned slowly, scanning the tunnel with glowing red eyes. Veron could hear its movements, not footsteps. The faint grinding of machinery under skin that wasn't really skin. Rourke didn't wait. He lifted a small device from his belt and pressed it to the wall. A pulse of blue light spread across the tunnel, and the scout froze. Imp, Rourke said. It'll be blind for a few seconds. Before the glow faded, the humans moved. They didn't shout, they didn't speak. 3 armored figures slid forward like shadows and struck the scout with precise, brutal hits. The machine collapsed, with a sound like snapping wires, but the silence didn't last. From deeper in the tunnel, more red eyes appeared. 1 pair, 3 pairs, 5. The scouts moved with unnatural smoothness, their heads tilting in the same rhythm as if they shared one mind. Varen's soldiers raised their rifles. This time, Rourke didn't stop them. Aim for the joints. Don't waste shots on the chest. The tunnel exploded with noise. Plasma bolts flashed against the metal walls. Red-eyed scouts moved fast, dodging between shots, their limbs bending at impossible angles. One leaped onto a Zorathi soldier, its claws cutting through armor like cloth. Varen fired into its side, the shot burning through a joint. The machine staggered, but another scout was already lunging toward him. Before it reached him, Rourke grabbed it by the neck and slammed it into the wall. Sparks burst from its skull. "Move!" Rourke shouted. "They're calling the others." The group pushed deeper into the tunnel. The air grew warmer, the walls slick with condensation. Strange echoes followed them, metal hitting metal, the faint hum of something vast waking in the dark. Varan's come crackled. Kara's voice came through, distorted. "Commander. Multiple contacts on the surface. It's bigger than before. You need to the signal cut to static." Rourke didn't slow. "It knows we're here. The scouts were just the first wave." Tunnel split into 2 paths. One descended sharply, the other sloped upward. Rourke pointed to the downward path. "The weapon is this way." Varen glanced at the upward tunnel. "And that way?" Rourke's voice was flat. "That way leads back to the surface. If you go there, the echo will catch you before you see daylight." The choice was clear, but Varen hated being led by someone who held all the answers. Still, he nodded, and they went down. The air grew heavier. Each breath tasted like rust. The walls here weren't just melted metal. They were carved, shaped into patterns that made no sense. Rail touched one of the strange markings. These aren't Zorathi, or human. They're older," Rourke said. "From the ones we fought before, the ones who made us create the weapon." Varen felt his skin prickle. "You mean your war? It wasn't against another species from this galaxy." Rourke didn't answer. The tunnel widened into a cavern. In the center stood a structure, a black spire covered in cables and glowing faintly with red light. The air around it seemed to vibrate like the sound of a voice too low to hear. "The last weapon," Rourke said quietly. Varan stared at it. "That's not a weapon, that's a machine." "It's both," Rourke said. "It stores thought, memory, belief. It can overwrite them in anyone, entire populations." Before they could move closer, the cavern shook. Dust rained from above. From the tunnels around them came the sound of claws striking stone. "They're here," one of Rourke's soldiers said. The echo didn't attack all at once. They came from the shadows, circling red eyes glowing in the dark. Varen and his soldiers formed a line. Rourke's team did the same. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then the first echo leapt forward. Plasma bolts lit the cavern in blue and white. The machines didn't scream when hit, they just kept moving, silent and relentless. One tore through a Zorathi rifle. Another slammed into a human soldier hard enough to crack armor. Varen ducked under a claw swipe. Fired point-blank into a scout's neck and saw it drop. But more came. Always more. Rourke fought like a man who had done this 100 times before. Every move sharp, every shot placed with deadly care. But Varan noticed something. He never aimed for the weapon. Not once. The fight raged on. The cavern floor became littered with broken machines. But the glow from the weapon only grew brighter. Then a deep voice, not from any throat, filled the air. It came from everywhere and nowhere. "You bring it back to me?" The machines froze. The red lights in their eyes pulsed in time with the weapon's glow. Varen felt a pressure in his head, like hands trying to push into his thoughts. He gritted his teeth and tried to focus, but the voice was inside now. "You will serve." The scrambler device on his armor gave a sharp click and burned out. His vision blurred. Rourke moved fast, slamming another device onto Voron's chest. The pressure vanished instantly. "You see now why it can't survive?" Rourke said, his voice low but urgent. Varen caught his breath. But he wasn't sure anymore whether Rourke meant the echo or the weapon. The machines moved again, faster than before. The humans in Zorthy fell back toward the tunnel, firing into the wave of red-eyed shadows. As they retreated, the glow from the weapon flared one last time, and for a split second Varen thought he saw images in the light. Not memories, visions, and in every one of them, humans were in command. The tunnels shook as they fell back from the cavern. Dust poured from cracks in the ceiling. The red eyes of the Echo Scouts glowed like small fires in the dark, moving closer with every second. "Keep moving," Rourke's voice was sharp over the cum. His soldiers fired in short, precise bursts, cutting down the machines one by one. But for every scout they destroyed, 2 more seemed to come. Varen's heart pounded. They couldn't hold them forever. "We need to seal the tunnel behind us." "Not yet," Rourke said. "We still have to set charges on the weapon." Varen stopped for a moment, staring at him. "You're going to destroy it now? Here. With all of us inside?" Rourke didn't slow. "If we wait, the Echo will take it. If that happens, the galaxy is finished." The thought of being buried alive was bad enough. But another thought gnawed at Varen. Rourke was moving toward the weapon again, not away from it. His soldiers stayed close to him, forming a wall between the Zorathi and their captain. They reached a side tunnel, narrow and twisting. Walls here were smoother, and the floor was lined with strange black tiles that seemed untouched by time. The air smelled faintly sweet, like something artificial. At the end of the passage was a small chamber. In the center stood a column of the same black metal as the weapon, pulsed faintly with red light as if it was connected. Rourke placed a hand on it. "This is a control node. If I link here, I can start a shutdown sequence." Varen's instincts screamed at him. "Or you can start taking control of it," he said flatly. Rourke looked at him, visor reflecting the faint red glow. "Commander, if I wanted to control it, I wouldn't need to ask. I could have done it in the cavern." Varen didn't reply, just kept his weapon ready. Outside the chamber, the sound of the echo grew louder. Their claws scraped against the metal tiles as they approached. Rourke opened a small panel on his gauntlet. Tiny streams of light flowed from the panel into the node. The red glow shifted, flickering like a dying flame. One of the human soldiers glanced back. "Captain, more contacts." "At least a dozen. Hold them," Rourke said without turning. 30 seconds. Varen moved to the doorway, firing into the shadows. His shots lit up twisted limbs and glowing eyes. The echo came fast, crawling along the walls and ceiling like insects. Rail tossed a grenade down the tunnel, and the blast shook the floor, but it only slowed them. Behind him, Rourke's voice was calm. 15 seconds. The glow from the node changed again. Now it was blue instead of red. The sound in Varen's head, that faint whisper from the weapon, faded to silence. "Done," Rourke said. He stepped back from the node and sealed his gauntlet. "The weapon is in lockdown. It can't be moved or activated without the code I said." "And who has that code?" Varen asked. Rourke didn't hesitate. "I do." Varen's grip tightened on his rifle. "So the galaxy's safety depends on you alone?" Rourke stepped past him, checking the corridor. "Better me than the Echo?" The Echo Scouts pushed closer. One leaped through the doorway, claws reaching for Varen. He fired into its face, and it fell in a shower of sparks. Another slipped past, grabbing Rail by the arm. Rourke's soldiers moved instantly, tearing it away and finishing it with a knife of glowing white metal. "We're falling back to the surface," Rourke ordered. "The lockdown will hold for now." They moved fast through the tunnels. The red glow of the weapon faded behind them, replaced by the cold light of their armor lamps. The echo followed, but at a distance now, almost as if it knew the weapon was beyond its reach for the moment. When they finally reached the surface, the night sky was filled with storm clouds. Lightning flashed across the horizon. The other human ships were waiting, engines hot. Kars's voice came over Varen's cum. "Commander, we've been tracking strange energy readings." "Did you?" He stopped. "Sir, there's movement in orbit. Something big just dropped out of FTL." Rourke turned toward the sky. "The Echo mothership," he said quietly, above the clouds. A dark shape began to emerge, massive, angular, with dozens of glowing red lights spread across its hull. Even from here, Varen could feel the vibration in the ground. "We can't fight that," Rail said. Rourke nodded. "We're not going to. We're going to disappear before it locks on," he signaled to his soldiers. They moved with perfect coordination, boarding their ships without a word. Varen's own crew followed, though he noticed Rail still glancing at Rourke with suspicion. As the ships lifted into the storm, the glow from the mothership intensified. "They know the weapon is still here," Rourke said, "and they will keep coming until they find it." Varen stared at him. "And maybe we should destroy it for real." Rourke's visor turned toward him. "Maybe one day when something worse than the Echo comes, you'll be glad it still exists." Varen didn't answer. The thought of trusting one man, one human, with the key to such power made his stomach turn. As they broke through the clouds into space, the mothership's red lights followed them like eyes. Somewhere deep below, the last weapon slept. But now Varen knew it wasn't gone. It was just waiting, and Rourke held the only key to wake it. The black ships climbed through the upper atmosphere, breaking free of the storm's grip. For a brief moment, the sky was clear, and the stars stretched out like cold fire. But the peace didn't last. From above, the Echo mothership moved closer. It didn't glide like a normal vessel. It drifted almost weightless. Yet somehow each shift in its massive frame felt deliberate. Like the twitch of a predator before it strikes, Varen watched from the Sentinel's command chair. The rest of his crew moved quickly around him, reading. "Incoming data, shields at full," he ordered. "Keep weapons charged, but don't fire unless I say." Karis frowned at the display. "Sir, I think it's scanning us, not just the ship. Us, our minds." Before Varen could answer, static hissed through the bridge speakers. A deep mechanical voice came through, the same one they'd heard. "In the tunnels, the key is yours." "Bring it to me." Varen's stomach tightened. He didn't need to look to know the key meant Rourke. On the other side of the formation, Rourke's black ship stayed just ahead, his other vessels flanking it like a shield. "It's trying to find a way in." Rourke's voice came through the comm. "We'll have to run silent?" "Run silent?" Varen asked. "It's looking right at us." "Not for long," Rourke said. "Follow my lead." The human ships broke formation, sliding into the shadow of a drifting war wreck. The Sentinel followed, weaving between the jagged remains of battles long past. Huge plates of armor and twisted beams blocked the glow from the mothership, giving them brief cover. The silence didn't last. A dozen smaller ships detached from the mothership, glowing red like embers falling from a fire. They moved fast, splitting into two hunting groups, half turned toward the human ships. The others angled toward the Sentinel. "They're coming," Kara said. "Rourke," Barone called over the comm, "we can't hide. We'll have to fight." "Only long enough to break away," Rourke replied. "Do not let them board you. If they touch your hull, they'll start rewriting your systems. Then your crew." The Echo ships closed in, their hulls smooth and without, markings almost featureless. From a distance, they looked like shards of black glass. But as they drew nearer, Varen saw the shifting seams along their sides, ports opening, claws unfolding. "Fire," Varen ordered. The Sentinel's cannons lit the dark, blasts tearing through the first wave. Two Echo ships broke apart, glowing. In silence, as their remains spun away, the rest didn't slow. The human ships struck from the side, Rourke's voice calm over the comm. "Keep them between us and the mothership." Varen obeyed, swinging the Sentinel into a wide arc. Plasma bursts ripped through space, catching another Echo craft in the flank. One slipped through, scraping across the Sentinel's port side. Ship shuddered. Lights flickered. Commander Rail called, "We've got a breach in hull section 4. No boarding yet," but the voice from before cut through the bridge again. One mind at a time, Varen felt the faint pressure in his. Thoughts like someone leaning against the inside of his skull. His vision blurred for half a second, and in that blink he saw an image, the weapon glowing red, but in human hands. The pressure broke as the Sentinel system surged, shields flaring bright. Rourke's voice came through, sharper than before. "Keep your head clear, Commander. It's testing you." You've been through this before, Varen said. Yes, Rourke replied, and I'm still here. The fight raged on. Echo ships twisted through space, moving with a grace that shouldn't have been possible for machines. The human vessels moved like hunters, striking quick and vanishing into wrecked shadows. The Sentinel fought harder, its weapons chewing through the smaller attackers, but the numbers kept growing. Kara's cursed under his breath. They're not stopping. They don't have to, Rourke said. They just have to slow us until the mothership lines up a capture beam. Sure enough, the mothership was moving, not fast but steady, aligning with their position. A faint glow began to build in its core. We need to leave, Rourke said. Now, Varen hesitated. If we run, they'll still know where the weapon is. They already know, Rourke said flatly. But they can't get it without me, and I'm not staying here. The human ships broke into a sudden dive, heading toward the gravity well of the nearby planet. Varen followed, feeling the pull increase on the Sentinel's hull. The Echo ships chased, but in the denser field of debris closer to the planet. They had less room to move. One by one, human ships began vanishing in flashes of light, short-range FTL jumps. Rourke's voice came through one last time. Your crew's good, Commander. Try to keep them alive. We'll meet again soon. Before Varan could reply, his ship's systems flashed with a jump lock, coordinates fed directly into their navigation. He had just enough time to order. The jump before the mothership's beam cut through the debris field. Space stretched. The stars bent, and then the Sentinel was gone. When the distortion cleared, they were far from the battlefield. No sign of Rourke's ships. Just the quiet hum of the engines and the faint memory of that voice, still in Varen's head. He knew they hadn't escaped for good. The Echo would keep hunting, or Rourke would keep moving, toward whatever plan he wasn't sharing. The weapon was still locked away under the dead planet's surface. But now Varen wasn't sure which was worse, the Echo getting it, or Rourke deciding to use it. 3 days passed with no sign of Rourke or his ships. The Sentinel moved through empty. Sectors always changing course, always scanning for the red glow of Echo vessels. But Varen knew it couldn't last. The Echo didn't give up. When the attack came, it wasn't quiet. The first warning was a burst of static across every channel. Then came the sound, not a voice this time, but a deep vibration that rattled. The deck beneath Varen's boots, the crew froze, eyes shifting to the main screen. Kara spoke without looking up. Multiple contacts, too many to count. The black shapes filled the view, dozens, then hundreds, swarming like a living shadow. In the center of them was something new, a massive Echo construct, bigger than the Sentinel and shaped like a spearhead, its tip glowing white-hot. They built a siege ship, Rail said. Varen didn't waste time. All ships form a defensive ring around the planet. We hold them here. Other Zorathi ships moved into position, their blue shields flaring as they prepared for impact. Weapons fire lit the dark as the first wave of Echo drones hit the line. The battle was chaos. Echo ships moved like water, flowing between defensive lines, latching onto holes and cutting deep. Zorathi turrets roared, shredding them in bursts of light. The siege ship stayed back, watching. Its glowing tip pointed directly at the planet below, the planet that still hid the weapon. Then, in the middle of the fight, a new fleet dropped out of FTL. Black ships. Human ships thought to come lit up with Rourke's voice. Commander Varone, you're welcome. Varone almost smiled. Almost. What's your plan this time, Captain? Rourke's tone was sharp. Same as yours. Keep them away from the weapon. The human fleet dove into the fight without hesitation. Their weapons were faster and brighter than Zorathi guns, cutting through Echo ships with brutal efficiency. For a moment, the line held, but then the siege ship moved. It cut forward through the swarm, ignoring the fire from both fleets. The glow at its tip burned brighter, and space around it seemed to ripple. Kara stared at the readings. Commander, that thing's charging a planetary piercer. If it fires, it will break through to the weapon in minutes. Varen opened a private channel. Rourke, if that thing reaches the surface, we're finished. I know, Rourke said. That's why I'm going in. Varen frowned. Into that, it'll tear your ship apart before you even touch it. Not if it thinks I'm delivering the key, Rourke replied. Varen froze. You're going to let them take you? For a few seconds, Rourke said. Long enough to get close. Long enough to put a bomb inside. The channel went silent for a beat. Rourke, Varen said carefully. If they capture you, they'll take the code to unlock the weapon. I've already set a failsafe, Rourke said. If my heart stops, the code dies with me. Varen didn't know if it was bravery or madness. You're asking me to trust you. I'm telling. You two cover me, Rourke answered, because if I fail, they win. The human captain's ship broke formation, streaking toward the siege ship. Immediately, Echo fighters turned to intercept, but Varen moved the sentinel to block them. The battle narrowed into a single, desperate push. The sentinel fired everything it had, burning a path for Rourke. Zorathy and human ships moved together. For the first time, weaving their fire into a deadly net, the siege ship let Rourke's vessel approach. Its surface opened like the petals of a black flower, revealing a glowing core inside. The ship drifted in, almost swallowed by the light. Rourke is inside, Kara's reported. Then, without warning, the Echo fleet surged. Every drone, every ship pushed forward at once, forcing the Zorathy line back. It wasn't random, they were buying time for the siege ship. Minutes passed. Varen kept firing, but his eyes stayed. On the siege ship, he didn't like the silence. Then the cum crackled. Rourke's voice came through, strained. Charges set. Get ready to clear a path. But in the background, Varen heard something else. A second voice. Mechanical, slow. Why destroy what you can rule? Rourke didn't respond to it. On my mark, the signal cut. Varen's stomach tightened. We've lost him. The siege ship began to move again, glowing even brighter. For one horrible moment, Varen thought. Rourke had failed, or worse, changed his mind. Then the core inside the siege ship flared white. The glow expanded, and a shockwave ripped through space. Echo ships near it shattered into fragments. The siege ship itself broke apart in a silent explosion, chunks of black metal spinning away. The battle turned. Without the siege ship, the Echo fleet began to scatter, slipping into the dark. When the last of them was gone, the field was quiet again. Too quiet, no human ship answered hails. The weapon was safe. For now, but Rourke was gone. Varen stared at the empty patch of space where the siege ship had been. Something in his gut told him the human captain wasn't finished. If he'd survived, he was out there somewhere, and if he hadn't, then the galaxy had just lost the one man holding the weapon's key. Either way, this wasn't over. Wreckage of the siege ship drifted in silence. Broken shards of black metal spun slowly, still glowing faintly from the blast. The stars beyond were calm, but Varen knew the quiet wouldn't last. The Echo never truly stopped. The Sentinel moved slowly through the debris field, scanning for any sign of life. Kara's was at the sensor console, his eyes narrowing. No heat signatures. No escape pods? Nothing. Varen kept his gaze forward. Keep looking. Hours passed. Other Zorathy ships joined the search. The human fleet was gone, not destroyed, but missing. No transponders, no trails. It was as if they'd all vanished at the same time. When the search finally ended, Varen gathered the crew in the war room. A holomap of the sector hovered between them. The glowing sphere of the weapon's planet still marked in red. The weapon is safe for now, Varen said. But we all know the Echo will try again. It will reinforce the blockade, increase orbital defenses. And the lights in the room flickered. A faint static hiss filled the air, followed by a voice human, not mechanical. I told you we'd meet again, Commander. The crew froze. Varen turned toward the holoprojector. The image sharpened until Rourke's face appeared, lit only by the glow of his cockpit. He looked alive, but different, pale, with a strange glint in his eyes. Rourke, Varen said. Slowly. How did you survive? The human captain smiled faintly. Survival wasn't the hard part. Leaving was. Kars glanced at Varen, whispering, Sir, his signal is coming from deep space, outside any known route. Varen kept his eyes on the image. Where's your fleet? They're safe, Rourke replied. Safer than they've ever been. And now, so is the weapon. Varen's stomach tightened. What do you mean? Rourke leaned forward, his voice calm. Yes. The weapon was never buried in that planet's core. That was a decoy. The real weapon is mobile now. And in my custody, the room fell silent. Varen stepped closer to the Hala. You lied to us. To me. I told you the truth you needed to hear, Rourke said. If the Echo knew the weapon could move, they would have hunted it across the galaxy. Now, they're looking in the wrong place, and I have what they want. Then you are the greatest threat, Varen said. Rourke's smile faded. Or the greatest defense. I've seen what the Echo will do. I've fought them longer than anyone. With the weapon, I can end them. But I can't do that tied to a planet waiting for them to strike. I have to move. I have to be where they don't expect me. Varen's voice hardened. And if the weapon corrupts you, if it decides you're not its wielder, but its servant. A moment Rourke didn't answer. His eyes shifted, just slightly, like something else was looking through them. Then he said, Then I hope you'll be strong enough to stop me. The Hala flickered, and the signal cut. The war room was quiet again. Kara's broke the silence. Do we trust him? Varen didn't answer immediately. He stared at the empty space where Rourke's image had been. He thought about the pale skin, the strange glint in the man's eyes. Finally, he said, We prepare for the Echo, and for Rourke. Weeks later, patrol reports came in from the Outer Rim. Entire Echo fleets destroyed. No survivors, no debris worth salvaging. It's just empty space, as if the enemy had been erased. Some claimed it was the work of a new weapon. Others said it was Rourke, striking from the shadows, but Varen couldn't shake the memory of that strange light in the human's eyes. Because if the weapon had chosen him, it might not have chosen him to save the galaxy. It might have chosen him to conquer it.